Hey, this is Michelle. You're listening to Rock Rage Radio, Shaking the Rafters with Michelle. I'm very excited. I got a very special guest. I've been wanting to have this guy on the show for a very long time. So I've got Steve Whiteman, the incredible lead singer from Kix, joining me on the show. We're going to talk about his brand new solo album, which was released on July 2nd. You're welcome. Steve, are you with me?
I'm with you.
Awesome. I appreciate you being on the show. And I wanted to start off by saying it was so great to see you guys at M3 this past weekend, and I've never seen a state or a city as well have such love for a band as they do for you guys. I always say they have some of the most incredible rock fans in the world right there at that festival, and it was a great time.
I agree. I think just playing this area for over 40 years, and they've always taken us under their wing and claimed us as their own, and they're proud to have a band from the area that that's kind of broken out and done well. So it's just a big family celebration when we get to do M3.
Oh, it's a great time. It's a great time. And this is really exciting for you because this is your first solo album ever as well. And you've been fronting Kix for 35 years, 35 plus years, and
Yep.
This is an incredible thing for you, a brand new thing.
Yeah, it's my first solo record under my name, but actually I did Funny Money CDs, and I wrote like the first 3 of those CDs and then collaborated on the fourth one. So even though it was under a band name, Funny Money, but I guess officially it's my first solo album.
Officially, yes. So let's talk about that. So obviously everything changed for the music world with the pandemic going on. Do you think that your solo album would have came to be, or your official solo album, had the pandemic not occurred, or do you think you just would have toured so much that it probably wouldn't have happened?
No, it definitely wouldn't have happened. The pandemic gave us the opportunity, and it was nothing that I was ever planning on. It wasn't anything it wasn't a bucket list thing for me. I was just writing songs and piling them up, just hoping that when Kix was ready to do another album, I'd throw my tunes into the hat and see how many got picked out. So I just had all these songs laying around, and Jimmy and Brad Divens, Jimmy Chalfant, our drummer, and Brad Divens were recording cover songs in Brad's studio just for shits and giggles. And one day Jimmy said to him, Steve's sitting on a pile of songs. Maybe we ought to get him in here and record a couple of originals just to give Brad some more experience from doing songs from the ground up in his studio. So I took my pile of songs over to Brad, and we sat and listened to all 12 of the tracks that made the record. And he just looked at me and said, let's record them all. And I said, well, then it looks like I'm doing a solo album, huh? He goes, I think so. So that's how it all got started. Again, nothing that was planned, and we just got together when we had the time and just enjoyed it. And reconnecting with Brad was wonderful, and working with Bob Perry was wonderful. Getting my old buddy from Funny Money, Dean Kramer, involved, and of course having Jimmy, Mr. Thunder on drums. So it worked out really well, and those guys really come in and took what I had done on the demos, and originally on the demos, I had played everything. So these guys just took my ideas and ran with them, and just took it to another level.
Well, it's a great album, and I've had the pleasure of listening to it, and I encourage everyone to pick it up as well. And it's very different. It's kind of a little bit of a departure from Kix, and so that's kind of the cool thing about it. I love some of the harmonies on it. I think it's incredible. And I'll tell you a couple of I have to tell you, I did laugh at the title Prick Teaser before I listened to the song.
I like that one and Tug of Love. I think that pretty much says it all.
It was very fun. To me, that was very classic 80s, It was very cool, It's like...
Well, the one thing about my writing and the writing from the other guys in Kix is they have a specific direction that they won't sway from, and that's why we get people like Taylor Rose involved when we did Rock Your Face Off. And I just can't write like that. I can't write in one direction. I just sit down and write songs, and my influences are probably different than some of the guys in the band. I mean, I grew up with the Beatles and the Monkees and the Grassroots and James Gang, Alice Cooper, Deep Purple. Those were my biggest influences. So I think Kix really tried to hang their hats on the more Aerosmith, AC/DC, Zeppelin kind of a feel, and that was the direction that we'd always tried to go in. So having that freedom of just putting anything, in every direction was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of versatility in the album, and I have to tell you, that's funny because I did make a notation Beatles on "Do Me Like You Done Me Before" because it kind of had that feel to me, you know. I loved that song, and I thought it was really, yeah, I just loved it. So I was like, gosh, that's really got a Beatles feel to me.
And I just love, you know, I love harmonies. I love melodies. That's the kind of band that attract my attention. So when I write, I try to emulate those influences.
Yeah, it's great, and I love the harmonica on "Bad Blood" as well, like the bluesy feel to that. And that's
nice.
I'm a big blues fan as well, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, see, that's the really cool thing I think about the album is each song is very unique. It's not really themed. It's just kind of going where your creativity led you, which I appreciate.
Yeah. And it's got juvenile lyrics. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that. But I always loved lyricists like Bon Scott, who always it was funny, it was amusing, it was never preachy, it was always double entendres and sexually just suggestive. And those are the kind of lyrics I've always liked to write.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. So I want to talk about also the album art because I love where you came up with that. It's fantastic. So I know where you came up with it, but I'm going to let you tell our listeners where you came up with it because it's great.
Okay. Yeah, I was racking my brain on album cover, and I was talking to Madeline, who helped me kick this whole campaign off, and I said, I've only got one idea, and I don't really think there's a title on the record that would make a good album cover. And she said, well, what's your idea? I said, give me 3 minutes, and I'll send it to you. And I just did the album cover. Steve Whiteman at the top, the stick man in the middle, and "You're Welcome" on the bottom in parentheses. And I took a picture of it and sent it to her, and she emailed back, I love it. So there was the album cover.
And it's so great because that's actually how you sign your autograph for your fans. So now everybody that gets the album's got Steve's little stick man.
Yep, I don't have to autograph it anymore. It's already autographed.
There you go.
That whole thing started at in stores when Kiss put out our first album. We would be sitting in these in stores for 2 and 3 hours at a time, and people would always want something special written to them, you know, something personal. And after a while, you just run out of things to say. So I just started drawing that little stick man. I go, here's a self-portrait, and then everybody started asking me for the stick man with my autograph.
I think it's great. I think it's incredible. And then the title, of course, You're Welcome. So I've seen you several times. So, Steve, when you say thank you to your audience, what do they say back to you?
I demand they say you're welcome.
And so I kind of love this because, Steve, your personalization of the album art and the title, this album is kind of your gift to your fans.
Well, it's pure Steve Whiteman, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's great stuff. You know what I wanted to talk about too? I mean, and I wanted to talk about your song "Kid Dynamite."
Mhm.
Because it's my understanding that's for Ronnie.
Yeah, I was writing it with Ronnie in mind, and I'd gone through several titles with that song. I didn't want it to be too doom and gloom and too many details revealing what was really going on, but I wanted to people to realize that this guy is dynamite on stage, and right now he's going through a bad path or a bad patch, and I just wanted to
the best the independent and underground has to offer, streaming high quality 320 kbps Rock Rage Radio. We are everywhere.
So
yay.
Hey, so we were talking about Dynamite Kid, right? The song that Ronnie was an inspiration for.
Yeah, that song went through a bunch of titles, but I wanted to write about, you know, what he was going through, the ups and downs of addiction and in and out of recovery, and I just wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it in a way that it was too revealing, but sympathetic to his problem. And I went back and forth with a whole bunch of titles, and I just thought, you know, Ronnie is such a dynamic performer that he's Kid Dynamite on stage, and that they go, oh, there's my title right there.
Well, I love it, and you know, I have to say one thing about the band too, Steve. And I interviewed Brian quite a while back, and he was very upfront about his former addiction, and I appreciate you guys so much for that. And what I told him was, I actually lost my older brother to addiction in 2007. And I just have appreciated your support of Ronnie through that struggle. And for those of our listeners who've never had a loved one or someone that you care about deeply, and you guys are a family, you've been together so many years, it's just such a heartbreaking thing to watch, and it can happen to anyone. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, and unfortunately I lost my brother 14 years ago to addiction. So I appreciate, you guys, those of you that have such a large platform that can reach out to people, and people that are struggling can see this and see that love and support and realize, that especially when Brian was telling me a story as well, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that you can come out on the other side. And Ronnie's such an amazing performer, such a nice guy too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're all just wishing him the best, and we want him to get well. We don't want him to rush him back and just to say, just to get him back into the band. We want him to be free and clear of addiction. We want his mental and physical health to be back, and then, the band for him right now is secondary. His health is what we're all concerned with.
Well, Steve, it's rare to see a band that has that type of bond that's lasted so long and so many years. I mean, it's really an incredible thing when you think about it. And no disrespect to other performers who have had a bunch of lineup changes. It happens. But you guys are definitely a rarity in the music world for that.
Yeah. Right now we have Bob Perry filling in for Ronnie, and Bob knows that there's a possibility that Ronnie will come back, but it really is going to be up to him of how disciplined he can be with his life. And in the meantime, having Bob in the band has been a huge lift for everybody, because we had done a lot of shows 4-piece with just Brian playing guitar, and Brian didn't want to do that this time. He said, it's not right for the fans to hear only half the music, and it's a lot of pressure on me. So we've had Bob in the wings before, and when it came time that we had to make the move, Bob would just slip right in and seamlessly. It's been great having him.
Yeah, he's done great, and I believe I told you before that, I actually got to see you guys over in Fort Myers, Florida at the ranch with Dixon, and I'll tell you what, I was dancing all over the place. Blow My Fuse is my favorite Kick song, so I got to tell you, I was just jumping up and down. It was so wonderful, Steve, to be around live music and to get to see you guys. And, oh, my gosh, it was just – and the fans were just going crazy. It was so much fun. So thank you for that. That was great.
We have great fans, and they come to our shows knowing that they're going to have fun. So they come in prepared to have fun, not to stand there with their arms crossed and judge. They come in with the knowledge that, okay, there's this crazy skinny white guy that's just going to go ape shit, and he's going to do things that's going to get your attention. So that's my job, is to come up with things that grab the crowd's attention and keep their attention throughout the whole show.
Well, I got to tell you something funny. So one of my best friends, she's a longtime Kicks fan. You probably know her. I know Brian knows her. And Ronnie, she knows Ronnie quite well. Karen Silas is her name. And
sounds familiar.
Karen's one of my very best friends, and she loves you guys so much. And we were coming back from M3 because she lives in Florida now too, but she's from your area. She used to go to Hammerjacks and all this stuff. And she was telling me, Poison song came on, and she's like, we were so pissed when Poison she's like, Steve, she's like, we were all like, he stole Steve's moves. We know he did.
Well, I saw Nick move, so I'm guilty of that too.
He does have the same kind of dance, the same kind of, movements this year. But I never realized it until she said it.
Those guys used to open up for us when they were called Paris, when they were out of the Harrisburg area. They just opened a lot of shows for us, so they definitely were influenced by what we were doing. And when they packed up the truck and moved to Beverly, they took some of our show with them, and it worked because they did pretty damn good.
Yeah, they did, but Karen was like, we were pissed. I got the biggest kick out of that. But like I said, Steve, I never realized it until she said it, and then I thought about the way he moves on stage and your energy, and I was like, oh my God, I totally see it. I see that, so that was
I don't
crazy.
think he moves like that
Your
anymore.
energy is like unparalleled, I have to tell you. As a front man, it's incredible. Is there any particular regimen that you do to keep yourself in that kind of shape to go like that? That's a lot.
Yeah. I walk every day about 4 or 5 miles, and then I work out. And I've been doing P90X for about the past 12, 15 years, and it works for me. So I realized that for me to get up on a stage and have that kind of stamina and cardio, I've got to work at it. So the hardest thing about the pandemic was continuing to work at that, not knowing if and when we were ever going to get back to playing. But I did, and that's just discipline. That's just what it takes, to be ready. And I knew at some point we were going to get back, so I wanted to stay ready.
Wow. It really is incredible. And let's go back to talking about your solo album again. So that was released July 2nd, and it's called You're Welcome. So will we be hearing you perform any of these great songs off of this album in any future shows that you're performing, Steve?
I don't know, because I don't expect the Boys and Kicks to play my solo stuff. I don't think that would be fair for them to ask them that, because there's so many great Kick songs that the fans would want to hear. And we have so many makeup shows from 2020 that we're squeezing into our schedule. At this time, I don't know, but this January and February, Brian is getting back with Rhino Bucket. They always do a European tour in January and February. So that would be a window. If Brad's not out on the road, and if everybody wants to get together and do a couple of shows to play this music, that would be probably the best opportunity.
Well, that would be a lot of fun. That would be worth a trip to Maryland for Karen and I'm sure. And I also wanted to talk to you about your daughter, because I recall at a VIP event for one of Brad Lee's events, you performed with your daughter, Carly.
Yeah. I wish I could get her. I like to, kick her in the butt and get out there and do it. But she doesn't really want to be a performer. Right now she's teaching. Kind of.
Right, and you taught as well at the the Maryland Institute of Music. Mm-hmm. Are you still doing that too, Steve?
No, after the pandemic hit and the school shut down for several months, I realized that at this point, after 25 years of teaching, I was pretty much done with it. I didn't really need it anymore. At one point in my life, it paid the bills, and I didn't really need that anymore. And I was winding down from it. It was starting to wear me out between kick fly dates on the weekends, taking.
Well, you and her, you harmonized amazing together. Your harmonies were incredible together. I remember that.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just from sitting out on a patio with an acoustic guitar and just having fun.
Well, that's amazing that you can share that bond together as well. Besides father-daughter,
and my son's quite good as well. I have a son who I taught to play guitar, and he sings real well. So when us three get together, it's just, we sit down and do some Beatle tunes.
That's awesome, and I think that's so important. My dad was a musician, and that was something that we enjoyed together, but there was 3 of us, and I was the only one that was interested in music out of the 3 of us, but he's gone now, but I will always cherish those memories, of us, just knocking around, singing, creating stuff together, so that's good that you guys have that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about your album a little bit more. So once again, that's July 2nd. That was released. You're Welcome, Steve Whiteman from Kix. First official solo album ever. And a lot more tour dates coming up for Kix for you guys, Steve?
Absolutely. It's just go to the Kix website, and they keep our schedule on there. And I want to tell people how to get the physical copy. If they want to download it, they can go to iTunes or Amazon or any of the streaming services. But if they want the actual CD, you can pick it up at Kix shows, and you can pick it up. It's called Right Rock Sportswear. RIGHT Right Rock Sportswear, and they sell all the Kix merch. So you just go to merch and Steve Whiteman, You're Welcome, and it'll pop right up. So anybody who wants it, it's available there. And it sold so well the first week that they sold like 500 in a couple of days. So now it's kind of on back order. I had to reorder another batch of CDs to send down to them. So you can still order it now, but it just may take a couple of weeks to get it.
Well, I'm not surprised that it sold that quickly, that well, that fast.
I am.
I'm sure your fans were super excited.
I truly am.
Yeah, well, I'm not. And let's talk about Kix. You guys have plans for an album anytime in the near future?
At this point right now, no. I think we're just trying to get back in the swing, get back out on the road. We were going to go out last year and sort of tour behind the Midnight Dynamite Relit album, but COVID put that down the toilet. So I haven't heard any new music from anybody else other than the stuff that I was writing. So I don't know if those guys are writing or not. I haven't heard a thing. And I think everybody at this point, because we're not a rich band, we can't just put an album out and not make any money from it. And financially, it doesn't make much business sense these days to put out a big record like that, where you have to bring in a producer and studio time, and you can barely recoup the money back these days. So there's that too, that we have to really work out the business end of it.
Well, in the meantime, we have your wonderful solo album to enjoy and for your fans to hear. So make sure you pick that up. Steve, it has been such a pleasure. I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much for talking to me today. You're incredible.
I'm glad it's a two-parter. I'm glad we got to finish it.
I am as well. You're incredible. And not only are you extremely talented, but you're a very cool guy, and I appreciate you so much. Looking forward to seeing you guys at Monsters on the Mountain as well. So that'll be a fun time. So and enjoy the road. I'm sure you've missed it. So
yeah, and definitely we are enjoying it.
Okay, guys. Well, make sure you check out Kix and pick up Steve Whiteman's incredible new album. You're welcome. And thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
I was waiting for you to say that. I knew that was going to happen. Everybody, Steve Whiteman from Kix joins me on Rock Rage Radio, Shaking the Rafters with Michelle. Thanks so much, Steve.
You're welcome. Bye.